Good evening, YouTube world. I'm your host, Paul Italia. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. So, what is going on, guys? I want to just catch up with everybody. We got an amazing interview planned out for today. But before I introduce our co host and our special guest of the night, just want to kind of catch up with things when kind of fill you guys in and a couple things that I've got working and all. So, I'm very proud to announce to everybody in the junk removal industry, I've just joined the mastermind group of junk removal. Very excited about that. It's a new league we're doing with scoreboards and everything, and it's kind of gonna keep everybody accountable as we compete with each other as well. There's 15 guys total across the nation. To qualify to get in, they have two leagues. They have a minor league and a major league. To get into minors, you got to be making 500K a year minimum. To get into the majors, you're a million a year. So, yep, just got in. You guys all know my journey. Been 9 months in junk removal. Can't believe I'm already jumping in and getting into the mastermind group and making the numbers I am. But yeah, sometimes I even surprise myself with it. But very excited to be around this circle of guys. I mean, these are the top in the industry across the country. They only allow one company in each market, so that we're not actually competing with each other and all. And then what we do is we share all our numbers weekly, and we got to upload them in all our KPIs, and we all follow the same KPIs and everything. And it kind of is like a competition and all. So really excited. It's going to light a fire under me and just kind of keep me accountable, keeping that foot down on the pedal. I don't want to ease up at all. Just want to keep growing and scaling because right now I'm in the uncomfortable stage for myself. I'm not used to being on the truck and all, but I've got the hang of it, really figuring things out. But I'm more comfortable with scaling businesses and all. So I'm getting into the fun part now. And when we get into January, February 2026, all the fun begins and we start scaling, forget about it. So just wanted to keep you guys caught up on where I'm at with my business and just let you know about the mastermind. But now I would like to introduce tonight. Tonight, I've got my brother, my co host, and one of the sharpest minds in the junk removal industry joining me again. This guy's not just talk, he walks the walk. He's a successful junk removal business owner, a best selling author, and a coach who's helped hundreds of owners scale, systemize, and take their business to the next level. He's all about leadership, grit, and purpose, and he's someone I've got a ton of respect for in the game. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Kevin Hess, the man behind Leading with Grit, Leading with Purpose, and now he just released last weekend The Gut Check. Welcome, Kevin. How are you tonight, brother?
What's going on, Paul? What's up, team?
So, man, big things I'm hearing, man. I know you did the big release last week over at the Junk Expo, and
Yes,
we got the
sir.
third book that he's put out, man. You are absolutely on fire with this, man. So, kind of tell us what went into making the gut check and, tell us about it.
Well, to be honest with you, when I was writing my book, I was actually writing in a totally different direction, and it's just this. It was this kind of this mindset that I had, and Xavier called Dollar. Um, he contacted me. He's finishing up his book for called Junk Removal Secrets, and he wanted me to write a chapter in that book. And in that chapter, he told me, I want this to be, easy to read. I want it to be no fluff, no bullshit, in your face, just real and raw. And I'm like, okay, challenge accepted. So as I started writing it and I finished it, and I realized that that was probably some of the best shit I've ever written. And it fit me, and it just felt right, and I just loved that style, and that I just had so much to say, because that's the kind of leader I like to be. I don't like to bullshit. I love to give honest feedback, and I like to keep it raw and gritty. And I looked at the book that other book that I was writing and I scrapped it completely.
Wow.
And, it just kind of reminded me of, um, you know, uh, it was a couple years ago. I met this guy. His name is Aaron Hosack, and he actually he's former wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings, right? Turned
Wow.
entrepreneur. And I was talking to him at this convention, and he we were talking about my business when I was with 1-800 Got Junk, and he started asking me some questions. And he's told me the first question he asked me was, what are you doing right in your business? And so I told him, and then he asked me, what are you failing at? What are you not doing that you shouldn't be doing? I'm like, well, and I started kind of hemming and hawing and giving excuses. He's like, bullshit. This is a gut check right now. I want to know, I want you to dig deep, stop bullshitting yourself, and tell me, what are you not doing, or what is wrong with the business? And I told him, and the reason why is because this and because of this and because this. So now he never had to tell me what I was doing wrong with my business, but by doing that gut check, I dug deep inside and held myself accountable and stopped hiding behind any BS. It was just a real look in the mirror, a real punch in the gut. And, and and every time I come across something that's hard in my business, whether I work for 1-800 Got Junk or for myself, I remember about that moment, and I give myself a gut check and stop, like, all right, screw the excuses, stop bullshitting yourself. What's the real fucking problem? Because the problem is right here, so there's no excuses, there's no blame to blame on anybody. So I decided that, after being in this junk removal community for the past 2 years, I saw a lot of people that needed that. And, their egos are getting in their way, when what they really need to do is stop blaming everybody else, stop blaming the market, their saturated market, stop blaming their SEO guys or their marketers or this or that. What they really need is a gut check. So that's why I wrote the book.
Well, preach, brother. Amen. I love like the whole background and how you came about of it. And guys, if you guys want to get your copy, where can they get it?
It's on Amazon right now. Just look up the gut check, Kevin Hess, or you can go to my website, thejunkevolution.com, and it's available there as well. As
Very
well
nice.
as my other as well as my other website you can see behind me, leadingwithpurpose.info.
Hell yeah. So I want to shout out to everybody in the chat. Say a quick hello. We got Ignacio from North Bay Junk Removal. How you doing, Ignacio? How you been, brother? We also got Junk On, Junk Off, Steve Waxon. How are you, brother? We got my man Drew in Vegas, representing
What's up,
Vegas. Oh
Drew?
my God, we have one of my old fans from the arm wrestling world, Paul Italia's cowboy hat. How have you been? You have went MIA. I haven't seen you in a long time. I love it. And North Bay says, that's true. Sometimes you know what you need, what to do. Procrastination will get you, myself, guilty. Amen to that. So, guys, before we bring on our big special guest tonight, I just want to make a couple announcements and everything. So, everybody in my BNI chapter, I know I got a lot of my BNI chapter tuning in. We're doing a lot of one-to-one interviews and all. I just want to remind you guys, make sure you're getting out there and doing your one-to-ones. I just did a couple amazing ones this past week. I went over to our member Danny. She's the tree arborist in our group, and what a treat, man! She's got some property up there. It's like 12 acres. They have just exotic trees, and I mean just everything. It is just I've never even seen a nursery look like this. This is like a whole nother level. So I encourage you guys, definitely connect with Danny. Go check it out. You're going to be amazed at the stuff that she has there. Plus, you're going to learn a lot as well. And I also had another great one-to-one this past week, and with my man Frank Galvin. And I didn't know much about Frank before our meetup, but Frank he really knows his stuff. He knows how to build businesses. He's brought one international, had it worldwide and everything. and he's a business coach. And we're going to be having him on in the next couple of weeks. We're going to get him on here, and I think a lot of people could be use his insight, and just coming from so many different business backgrounds, the knowledge that you could learn from him. So definitely
I'm
look.
I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Oh, Kevin, I told Frank about you right away. I said, you two are going to absolutely hit it off. So he already knows about you, and I can't wait for that interview, because that's going to be a good one. And then I got to also make mention, we have next week, we have the MVP of our BNI chapter. We have Nicole Humber, and Nicole is an amazing entrepreneur doing huge things, building a big business. The BNI chapter I'm part of, got to see her grow from the very beginning, from when she was an employee there till she bought it out and then scaled it to huge size and everything. She's very inspiring to watch. She's really a big part of our success in this BNI chapter that I'm part, is her leadership. So shout out to her. She'll be on next week, Friday, 6 p.m. Definitely tune in. It's going to be a good one, guys. And we got Gene. What's up, Gene? Gene's another member of the BNI. He says, yeah, Ellen. And we got Sylvia. I can't wait to meet Danny and Boy and Avocado Tree. Oh, yeah. So let me introduce tonight's special guest, guys. This one is going to be a good one. I'm really excited about her. She's someone I got to see every week at my BNI chapter, and every time she speaks, you could tell she's got serious passion for what she does. She's the owner of Ellen Manerud Designs, a talented interior designer who helps turn houses into homes that truly reflect who you are. From concept to color to the finishing touches, she's all about creating spaces that feel alive and inspired. What I love most about her is her eye for detail and how much heart she puts into her work. She's not designing rooms, she's designing lifestyles. Please welcome my friend, my fellow BNI rock star, and incredible designer, Ellen Manerud. How are you today, Ellen?
I'm good. Thank you, Paul.
Very
How's
welcome.
it?
I'm very excited to have this interview. I really want to learn about you and kind of dive into everything you do. But first, I want to learn about, where did you grow up, and a little about your background.
I grew up right here in San Francisco. I'm a San Francisco native. High school in San Francisco, right in the city. Took the Muni bus back and forth, to grade school and high school. And then I moved out to Petaluma just 3 years ago with my husband. We raised kids in the city for, all their lives. And when they went off to college and became young adults, we moved up to Petaluma, which we're
Very,
really happy about and never looked back. It's been really, really great. And meeting you and all the people in the BNI chapter, it's just been a really supportive move, and we're happy to be here.
very nice. So we know that you're an interior designer, but I want to learn a little about you before that. Like, what did you do in your past, and kind of give us like your business background.
Absolutely. I mean, I have been a designer for 30 years. I went to undergraduate in art history at UC Berkeley. And I really studied history because, art history, because it's really seeing history through the art of people, like people's expression. And I loved that. And that was really interesting. And I got into architecture in the last couple of years of that degree. And then I got out of school, and I was working at one of my first jobs, if not my first, answering phones on the at a company called the Nature Company. I have no idea if they're around anymore. I should look them up. But they were really cool. They did a lot of their own products. And so I'm answering phones, like literally just taking like catalog numbers, with probably now done in Bali. But I'm answering phones, but to the lunchroom, you walked by the design studio, and it was super cool. I mean, they did all these products and all this packaging, and all the iteration was all over the walls. And I just loved it immediately. I was, 22 years old. I walked in and I was like, this rocks. Like, how can I be part of this? And my mom was grit, like, just like you're saying, Kevin, grit. And I was like, I'm going to take it. Let me answer your phones. Let me take out your trash. And they were like, a really cool woman ran the studio, and she's like, go back to school. And I was like, am I really going to do this? All the additional expense. And I ended up going to Japan and teaching English. I had a friend there who was making a lot of bank, teaching English in Japan at the time. And I said, I want to go back to school. And, my parents were like, this bill is absolutely on you. And then I got immersed in Japan, which was just a design haven, super cool, living in Tokyo. And so then I even more immersed in design, and I went back to CCA, California College of Arts. And
Okay, hold on. We got to. There's a lot there on
yeah, no
Bell
problem.
here. So I want to learn about Japan right now. So, how old were you when you made it to Japan? And like, I know you said you had a friend there, but is Japan like a hot spot for interior designing and all that?
Yeah, Japan is known for design. It's actually a really cool country that, like, Japan and Sweden are one of few countries that has design like as part of their governmental systems. Like, if you go there, you understand that everything is well designed. I mean, the trains, the streets, the vending machines, like, it's really quite beautiful, form and function, a lot of design there.
So, Ellen,
And
I got to throw in a quick
yeah,
detail right there. So, as we speak, my mother is there right now, and I've been on the
nice.
phone with her. She's there for the next 3 weeks, and exactly what you've been saying. She's been telling me she can't get over the train system there. I guess the subway
Exactly.
system. She's like, it is amazing, and it's so clean and so safe, and it's
Yeah.
just it's funny that you're talking about Japan now.
Right.
Yep,
Right.
I
And you
love
can
it.
get on that speed train and go to Kyoto, and then, you have ancient buildings next to modern buildings, like, beautifully done. And I mean, it's really the craft, the food, everything is crafted. And they're really original designers. I mean, they really have it as part of there. As I say, it's Sweden. Like, the people you think of as the design, gurus are really, those countries really emulate it. So and then it just happened to be that you could, at that time, maybe still, you could be well paid as an American accent speaking. They wanted to learn, like, business conversational. And I taught high school English, and then I taught businessmen conversational English.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now are you working interior design as you're doing this as well, or
Oh,
no?
no. I mean, I'm 22 years old.
Okay.
This is early on, and but I'm just, you're living in a design society. But no, I was teaching English, making money, and then came back and went back to design school.
Okay, so what made that transition happen? Were you overdoing the teaching? It wasn't like your thing, or was interior design
Oh,
was just such a passion?
it was just so I could make money to go to design school. I had applied. I knew the cost. I knew how it was a way to make a good amount of money quickly.
Now, what did you learn from there that kind of helped you get into your career of interior design? Did that form you in any kind of way? Learning, being there in Japan, also being a teacher, like your relationships with the students, all does that all incorporate into becoming an interior
I mean,
designer?
I think, like yourself and like Kevin, it's like it gains your confidence, right? It is a big. I'm a naturally outgoing, gregarious person, and it just really. I was only 22. I'm working with 50-year-old men. I used to have them buy the English newspaper, and we'd just go, and these sweet guys would come in, and they'd have it all highlighted with the yellow highlighter, and they'd have the questions in the column, and they were just the nicest guys. And then these high school students just love me. I'd have them tell funny stories. We'd go around in a circle, and we'd be like, I was in the forest and I looked up in this beautiful man, and they go, oh my God, oh my God. They just thought I was really funny. And it started, I think, a level of confidence that it takes to be your own business person and have that interaction with clients. And, you learn, as I did learn in design school as well, you learn to really pivot. You learn to take, feedback from people. You learn to, be an interpersonal dialogue with your clients. With they were my clients at the time.
Very nice. So now you go back to the States and everything. And now how does that all go about?
Yeah, I got into CCA. CCA is a fantastic design school. It's like Art Center down in Pasadena. I mean, it was I was the early design. They used to be a really primarily fine arts college in Oakland, and then they started the design school in San Francisco, of which is a very, well-regarded design school today. And, they have the full range of design there. And it's a fantastic school. And it really taught me how to be a designer, which is really how to see things. As I was mentioning earlier, any kind of design school involves critique. It involves putting your work up and learning to take constructive criticism from your colleagues, from your professors, in front of people, and learning to iterate, which is the changing of ideas. How do you take feedback and change and move? How do you really, and this is the dynamic you do with clients, that obviously fine art, you create the problem and you decide when it's done. A painter, like a potter or a jeweler, those people create a problem for themselves, a blank canvas, and then they get to decide when it's done. For a designer, you're really learning problem solving with a problem. So there's a goal, and then what is the medium you're going to work in to get to that goal? And there's design involved in all our days. I mean, Apple made us understand it as a culture. I think even like Target as a company has popularized it. But look at your brand. I mean, it's so strong. So it's like design is really everywhere. It's in your toaster. It's in your chair you're sitting in. It's in that, the logo right behind you. So it's a designer's involved in everything we touch almost.
What is some of the strengths that you would say that you have that makes you such a good interior designer?
Well, I think I'm really a strategist. I would not call me a decorator. I think some people think of interior design as like a person who's going to come in and pick some fluffy pillows. That's definitely not my background in design. I've been involved in product, in brand, in publication design, in exhibit design. I've been involved in every design medium you can think of. So I love longer term projects, which is like interior design, commercial and residential. I like the touch and feel. I like texture. That's where I landed in like really liking more of the long-term projects that are, that touch and feel, brick and mortar work. But I'm a strategist. So I'm going to come in and really understand my clients and understand what distinct problems or that they're looking to solve. Do they have children? Are they vegan? Are they, or do they cook a lot? Do they entertain? Do they not use the kitchen in that way at all, but they want to really highlight some of the interior entertaining spaces? So, because they don't cook as much, but they love to entertain. So those kinds of things the room is going to be designed differently depending on the brand for a residential client, for that particular needs of that family, or for a commercial client, for the brand of that business.
So I got to ask, Ellen, so how does that process all go about? Like, how do you get to know them? How do you, like, what's the setting? You know what I mean? Like, you do an initial meetup and all, but like, what does that look like?
Well, I love to get to know people. I mean, I'm a very curious person. Stay curious is my tagline for my design business. And it's always been that way for me, that I love to get to know. So I ask a lot of questions. I laugh with them. I cry with them as needed. We get to know. I just left a client of mine who's having a baby, next month, and, big hugs, brought her some baby gifts. And that's where you get to know people. But then I start getting into those questions that I went through, and I start really getting into, what are your priorities? What are you trying to solve here? Because ultimately the traffic flow around an island, what size people are we dealing with? Tall people, short people, larger people? Like, people have different needs. So the particular needs of my client, I'm assessing around what kind of needs there. I open every cabinet, I take a picture of everything, I take an absolute inventory of everything we're doing, and what do we need to remake? I mean, I just finished a project with that Ryan Woods Walker and Associates from our group built, and that was a phenomenal transformation of a kitchen that, you know, it was going to be hard to even see how his things were going to translate into this new space because it was going to be such a radical transformation. And it all went beautifully, you know, it's very intentional.
I love it. And what's one thing that most people don't realize about an interior design business?
Well, I think a lot of people think of design as like this highfalutin thing for the wealthy, and that you know, they don't need it, and that's just not the case. A design is where I think every improvement project should start. Is that you want to really consider. I don't sell products. I sell solutions. You know, I'm a strategist, as I say. So to me, you know, you're going to walk into a showroom. They sell products. That's not. Yeah, I actually do save quite a bit of people money. Like people would be surprised at that. That like rather than be more expensive to a project, you know, I never take people's budgets for granted. I'm always going to hit that budget. You
So
know,
I think you just hit on something right there, like you were saying, where a lot of people are under the impression that it's just for the ultra wealthy, you know, that's
yeah.
what the person that's going to get an interior designer. But I find it very interesting how you just said you actually save your clients a lot of money. So this,
Yeah, I mean, you know, I can't not every project. It depends on the project, depends on the needs of the project. But because I'm resourceful and I have a lot of various vendors, and I also am very diligent to their budget. So I want to watch things that are coming in and out. I want to make sure it's done right. I want to make sure we're all invited back to work with this, you know, client again. Some clients don't know how to ask for what they need, and I do. I'm very good at that. That is certainly a strength of mine. I know how to get things done.
well, I love that. And guys in the chat, if you guys have any questions for Ellen, feel free to put a question out there. I'll definitely get around and read them out to you. And I also wanted to know if you had to describe your business in 3 words, what would that be?
Ooh, that's exciting. Well, strategy comes to mind for sure.
Okay.
Um, so, I mean, and you know, I think it's strategy, form, and function would be my first three that I come up with, because
So
form
let
and
me
function,
can we
of course,
can
you
we
forgot.
break into that strategy? Like what do you mean by strategy? Like what do you come in and, you know, like strategize for them? Like like a whole plan from A to Z for them, or how does it
Um,
go?
I mean, yeah, I guess it's a big word, but it's like design is uh, it's such a heady sort of problem solving. It's hard to describe, like, and it's hard to describe the all the various projects I work on. But you know, I think I've talked to the woman I just left with, who's having a baby. Like they knew that we built a pool in our yard, and they had learned that we had done, you know, a ground up pool and a deck around it. And so I was introduced to someone who wanted to do that. And, you know, they had $150,000. And that might sound like a lot of money, but to build a custom pool from the ground up and a deck around it is more than that. And I'm able to tell them that right away. But, you know, where a pool company, a pool designer would come in and you they would leave and never find a solution for them. If they talk to a deck, you know, builder or a contractor, they would leave and never find a solution with them. But for me, I just get attached and I live there at 2 in the morning. I'm like, how are we going to do this with their budget? And so we were able to find an out of the box swim spa, like and you know, and I asked them again those questions. You know, are you interested in, what are you interested in doing in this? And they were in their 60s and were interested in exercise. And I was like, well, these out of the box swim spas have an automatic current that you can swim against, that you can walk against, that you can put in a bike. And they were like, okay, tell me more, tell me more. And I was like, okay, so for $30,000, we can get this spa. And we built a foundation, and then we built the. So basically, strategy means you solve the problem at hand. Like they have a budget, they have needs, they have interests in what they get out of it, and I'm able to, often find solutions.
I
So that's where strategy is just like, how do you? And then I like, pick up that phone, make the calls. But again, I don't sell swim spas for a living. I'm a designer. So the next project will be something different. Believe me. But I'll figure it out in the same way.
Well, Kevin, I gotta bring this up, man, because I see you are connecting with what she's saying, and I
Yes.
know a lot of the things that you teach and all sounds very familiar of what Ellen is saying. So I'd like
Yes,
to
and
hear your feedback.
that's what I was sitting here thinking, kudos to you, Paul. You've brought on some really great guests, I find a connection, for the people that are listening that are in the junk removal industry. I find so many great connections to other entrepreneurs and other industries that can be utilized in junk removal. And one of the biggest things that, that I train on and teach is what you just said, Ellen. Um, you're selling solutions, you're giving people solutions. Whereas, in the junk removal community, a lot of people start off, they're going in and being straight transactional. Hi, how are you doing? I'm Kevin. Where's your junk? You know,
Right.
but you're not selling junk removal service, you're selling solutions. And
Right.
that's how a lot of these guys can learn to, if they think that way, instead of thinking I'm there to haul junk out. No, you have a challenge. I'm here to help you with a solution. So
I love
yes,
it.
I connect with that, big time. And you did use one of my favorite words in the whole world, which is intentional.
Yeah.
Just everything you do has to be intentional. And that's, to me, that's one of my favorite words in the entire world.
I love it. I mean, what comes up for me with junk removal, it's like, you got to understand the reason this person might be moving junk out. I mean, it could, in a estate sale, they could be dealing with a death in the family. Like, you better come
Exactly.
in with a heart that's ready to understand loss. And
Yeah,
you might not be the
exactly.
children crying, but you better not be like, like
And that's why I
never
think it's
said that.
important for them to find out the customers why. Why are they getting rid of the
Exactly.
junk?
Exactly.
Because if you find out why they're getting rid of the junk, and that you're only going to find that out by building rapport with the customer first. You build a
Exactly.
relationship with them. You're not being straight transaction. You're building a relationship with them, with that relational rapport, and then you get to the relevant rapport, which is finding out why they're doing it. And
Exactly.
that way you can customize a solution directly to them. Not everybody's getting rid of junk because they have junk. There's a reason
Right.
behind it, and it's up to you to find out
Right.
why.
Yes, and
Exactly.
So
I've been doing that a lot through Kevin's training, and it's led to so many great things, and you help out people as well, because not always the answer to their problem is me. As a business,
Right.
sometimes I instruct them to do something else, and they'll be so taken back, and they're like, "Oh my God, wow, you're actually telling me I should go somewhere else and sending me somewhere else," and they appreciate that, and that'll actually get me business in the future with them, because they
Right.
know the trust is there. I'm being straight up with them. I could have just lied to you and said, no, I'm the best answer, but no, I'm going to give you your best options and let you decide from there. So
yeah.
that is definitely the way to go. And I wanted to also know, what's been like your biggest aha moment as a business owner, something you wish every entrepreneur could experience.
Um, I think one thing that's coming to mind for me is that I was trained as a designer, but you also have to be a business person. So those two things are often, in my case, very different. Those. So I think understanding that not only running a business, but business development is going to be different than being a designer. And I think any entrepreneur has to understand that you can be good at doing what you do, but you also have to really be good at running a business. And that's hard, right?
Now, how do you balance that? How do you make that connection and that it works for you?
I think you run your numbers, you get the resources, people, if you don't know how to do something, like look beyond. And, there's people like Frank you mentioned, who are business coaches that can actually, help you with those things because they set systems in place to set that accountability for yourself. So how do you have a partner sometimes in that? And I think it's really successful what you're doing here, what you're doing with Kevin. It's like you get partnerships, and so that people can stay accountable to each other.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, have you ever had like a mentor or somebody that helped you get into designing, or maybe even not even so much in designing, but somebody that kind of mentored you in just business overall?
I did have a great business coach who was specific to creatives about 15 years ago, and I really enjoyed working with him. And immediately I was like, "Hey, my first question is like, how am I going to get the return on the investment?" You're generally going to a coach because you maybe need to make more money, and to shell out my monthly for him. I was like, "How?" And he's like, "No, that's a given. That's going to happen." And it was great because he immediately proved that I went from being really a graphic designer to more of a brand strategist, getting much bigger clients. And it was a good aha that like you're saying in your business, you're scaling the type of clients you want and the type of projects you're excited to take on. So
I really want to learn about like when you say you work with people in branding and all, how does that all play? From a designer perspective, what can you help with building a person's brand?
well, I mean, it's wonderful that brand has become a bit more of a household word now, that people understand what that is. I mean, the reason when we first met, I was like, "You got a brand, man." I mean, Paul, you like walk and talk that brand. Like it's just beautiful. I wear your brand colors tonight because I was like, "You got a brand. I'm going to match your brand."
Thank you,
So
Ellen.
I love brand. It's like I love, and to me, as I say, I've honed into the how the brand affects like spaces, residential and commercial spaces, because that's what really lights my fire. I like longer lasting projects that the brand not only is in the colors, but then it moves into the restaurant space or it moves into the home space. That the idea becomes bigger and bigger and more. So, but brand is ultimately a narrative. It's a narrative of a person, of a business, or it's the story, it's the through line that you feel when you think about that company, or you think about whether you're in that space, and whether you're paying $10 for a sandwich or $30 for a sandwich, as we're now getting to pay for, is often involves design. I mean, hopefully the sandwich is better, but often that was a design. That was because of the feeling you got from the space that was created, from everything from the menu to the logo to this chair that you're in to the lighting to the texture to the color is all design.
Ellen, I gotta say the one thing that well, there's many things, but one of the first things that I picked up on you and I see as a very strong strength you have is your attention to detail. You pick up on things like most people wouldn't pay attention to, and you do. You
Yes,
zero in. And I've
thank you.
noticed that a couple of times even in our last trades group meeting, just some of the questions that you came out with, and it takes that really detailed look at things, and I definitely recognize that with you.
Thank you. I would not argue with that. I do. I noticed that cool mug you got for your weightlifting mug, like behind you. I noticed that my client's having a baby, and it's like, yeah, that is very much part of being a designer. Is you learn to see. You're really trained in seeing and listening and just integrating it all.
What has changed since from the beginning when you first started with the schooling in interior design to today with like all the technology and AI and all that? How is that changing the industry?
Yeah, it certainly has. And I would definitely say to anyone who wants to be a designer or who want that it's not about the apps. It's not about those are tools. Those are great tools. Design apps, AI is a tool, but it's also you have to have these other elements of problem solving, interpersonal relational skills, detail you're mentioning. And that is what really makes a designer. And that's what you learn in good design schools. Is good design schools, to me, and I hate to say, but I think some design schools are going to be like, here's a lesson in Photoshop. And that, to me, is not how you learn to be a designer. You just won't. You're going to get stuck in that problem solving, that interpersonal, that attention to detail, that how do I create a story? How do I create a really cool feel here? That's not what you're going to get through like a Photoshop class or, a SketchUp. You're going to have to learn. And there's great people who, and so even AI, it's like, oh, AI, is it going to take all the jobs? Well, I don't think it will take design jobs. It might take the coding jobs, but the thinking, the creativity that goes behind the coding,
the human aspect of it all.
Yeah. I mean, AI, it's in terms of, the engineering. I mean, I worry more about like the customer service jobs, but they'll still need a designer to create that checkout that creates, but the people work, that is hard. And it sort of breaks my heart to know that like there's a lot of entry-level jobs that will be taken by technology, but the design part, I think, is here to stay. And it's even popularized it. It's like, even like we all expect it now. Like now, even more people want new kitchens. More restaurants need to elevate their spaces. More design, businesses need to be. The design is almost expected now because we understand it more. Like we didn't imagine Apple phone. I mean, Apple is revolutionary. We're like getting to a point where we forget that the computer was not a good-looking thing. Those two things those were totally two different things. But Apple obviously was committed to design, and they got people hooked on design.
Oh, yeah. The whole culture behind it. Yep.
Yeah. So now more and more people understand it. More and more people want it. They want it in their homes. They want it in their business. They want it in their brand. They want it on the side of their trucks. And they feel it, right? You feel it. You feel the pride. And I love to do that for my clients, that they feel pride in their homes and in their spaces. And that's what I get excited to do. I love my job.
I love it. I want to say a quick shout out to a couple people in the chat. We have my man Richard tuning in from Canada. What's up, brother? How are you today? We got my man Cisco. He's over here in North Cal. Cisco. And we got Andrew Thompson. Want you to meet Andrew, Ellen. Andrew is he's a big name in the junk removal industry. He just made an app that we're all using. It's actually a CRM, and it's helping us all run our businesses so much more smoothly. And he made it geared to junk removal, but it works for any home service business. So I definitely want to let everybody in my BNI chapter know about it. It's called Autopilot. It could help you guys out in so many different ways. A lot of the big CRMs out there like Jobber and Workies, they charge like $300, $350 a month and all. Where, right now, if you jump in the beta stage of Autopilot, I believe you could get it for $50 a month. I'm actually one of the investors. I got in at the very beginning. I invested in it. I knew that Andrew's got the hustle in it. Yeah, and I knew he was going to do it. But I've been using this CRM, and I didn't use one before this, so I wasn't really sure if it had all the bells and whistles, so to say. But I've been doing the research over the last 2 months, and I want to report back that this CRM does everything all the others that are charging 4 or 5 times more. So definitely something to check out. And also, guys, I know that you guys been getting my SMS text blast. I just let you guys know I'm going live on the YouTube and all. That's all through Autopilot. So that's another cool thing that it does. He's got the email technology and all. So you get your whole catalog, all your clients' names in this, and then you could just press one button and then personalize for each person, puts their name on it, and then you go and send out this text blast. So guys, if you're in that technology and you're looking to grow that business, check out Autopilot. I definitely highly recommend it.
And Andrew, I can safely say that he is not just pumping you up while you're in the room, because he was at our trades meeting when you weren't there, pumping you up too.
So, that's it. I'm always talking about it.
I can attest. See detail.
Hell yeah. So Bob says, Bob, we learned at the expo that it is a FSM, not a CRM. Yes, you are correct with that. I just say the CRM because it's very like jobber and worky. So I kind of want
Right.
everybody to understand without confusing them. But yes,
Well,
I know the technical.
it's basically both, which, being from, 1-800 got junk with a multi-million-dollar FSM, this has got the combination, the field service management, which is great for, junk removal. You have the dispatching and, booking jobs and everything else, but the CRM part of it is great for, like everything that you just described there, Paul, and connecting with your database of customers and keeping in touch with them, and just creating that whole database. So it's a combination of both, which not everybody does. It's either one way or the other. But this one's got a great mixture of both.
Hell yeah. And also want to just let you know, Bob, yeah, I didn't make it over to the Junk Expo, but guys, anytime you get a chance to learn about your business industry and all, and learn from others that, have did it before you and might have a little more experience and all, I really encourage it, man. So Bob, I was disappointed I wasn't able to make it over to the expo and all, but I don't know if you tuned in the beginning. I just joined the mastermind of junk removal, and it's 15 of the top companies across the nation. And I feel like I'm kind of grown to another level now. I was at that beginner stage for the last year, kind of really figuring it all out. I've now ready to go to the next part, and that is scaling and making a transformation from getting off the truck and just really growing this to another size. So I think I kind of grew out of the Junk Expo, not saying that, I couldn't learn anything from that, but a lot of those guys are already good friends of mine that I talk with on a regular basis. I've already picked their brains so much. We compare notes with everything. So that's why now my focus, because I'm very limited on time. You guys know I got a couple of businesses. The Fuhgeddaboutit is blowing up right now. I don't got much time. That's why it's very limited, even when I get on these podcasts. When I first came in, you guys know every day I was on here. I'm making all this noise, and then I kind of went MIA. That's as the business is growing. I don't have as much time. So when I do use my time, I got to really get the value. So right now I'm focused on my educational part is coming from my mastermind group with these other 15 companies that have did it to, I mean, some of them are 7 figures, some of them are 8 figures a year, so it's time to learn from the big boys and all that. Plus, I mean, look who my co-host is. We got a legend here, Kevin Hess. I mean, this is my guy here. So, but I just want to encourage everybody, whatever industry you're in, that has always been my formula. Find a mentor, find a coach, somebody that you look up to that has did it in that industry. They have the success to show, they have the experience, and learn from them. And put the ego aside and say, hey, they've learned, they've made mistakes. Learn from their mistakes rather than have to go and making that mistake for yourself. It will cut the time in like 1/5 the time. So just something I want to throw out there. And when I
Yeah,
said
and
that, Ellen, oh, sorry, Kevin.
no, I was gonna say, and you see the connection with the past guests you've had on here. They all have that. They've all said the same exact thing.
Yes.
They're successful because they've had mentors, they've had business coaches that helped them get to the next level and help that evolution. Because that's what it's all about. Because what got you here will not get you there.
Yes.
So finding somebody to that has done it at a high level and to help guide you, there's nothing to be ashamed about. I've had many mentors, I've had many business coaches in the past, that got me to the level that I'm at. And most successful entrepreneurs have done that.
Yes,
And
definitely.
that's really the foundation of design. Like that's what you learn in school is that constant ideating up to the next level. Like it's
Yeah,
really, and as you say, like nothing to be
that's
ashamed of. It's
that's
like you
it's
be ashamed that you're
it's
not, you always have to be sort of
it,
noodling.
yeah, it's always about leveling up.
Oh, so Gene says, can you share about your San Francisco church
Sure,
project and discuss some of your other creations? Sorry, I can't speak right now.
sure. Thank you. Well, I worked for West Office Exhibition Design for some time. So I learned exhibition design at some level of my career. quite a while back, but I answered a request for proposal, RFP, from Grace Cathedral for a very well-funded project that was they were going to be the first. There aren't many churches in the United States that charge a fee. And so they have millions of people come through there a year. And they were moving into what they called a cultural experience program. So they now have like a totally agnostic program that has all these arts programs that comes through, and you have a member to come into Grace Cathedral to just see the arts programs. They have 300 people for yoga every week. And so I was hired to be part of that creation of the cultural experience program. So they have 250 works of art. They have Keith Haring's last piece of art, his only religious art that he created. So they have a lot of Ansel Adams photography. They have the incredible stained glass window called the Human Endeavor series that is the only like human. They have, Martin Luther King. They have Darwin. They have John, the astronaut. But anyway, it's a really cool, so it was a really cool project where they needed somebody to figure out how to exhibit these 250 pieces of art without making that much of a physical impact on the space, but being able to show a huge story. So I was hired, I worked with them for over a year and a half to create this permanent exhibit for them and create what they called the visitor experience. And so you go in, and I created a children's map, and we created an architecture tour, we created an audio tour. So we created these permanent iPads that have a beautiful program that we built. I built with a beautiful piece of museum software that you can tell deep, rich, long narratives in a small amount of space. And it was a really, really cool project to be involved with.
That is very cool. How long did that go on for?
It was about a year and a half. There's a really beautiful write-up from KQED about it, and it honors me in there, which is really nice. And great group of people that I worked in. And, the request for proposal was to any design industry, any agency. And I am I'm a boutique agency. You get me. Like I have a team of people that I bring in, but generally I am the designer. So, a lot of agencies pitched for this. I was part of a big pitch proposal competition. And they really felt like I was the only one who truly understood what they needed to be done, and that they were not going to have a lot of time to do this. Like, here's our problem, give us a solution. And I brought on the team of the writers and the museum app and the hardware we needed. And I worked with their historian, but I pretty much alone with some sign-offs, and, the team that I built and the historian built this permanent exhibit for them, which was really exciting to be involved in. And it was super fantastic organization. As I say, I'd go in for meetings, and there would be like Bandaloop dance troupe hanging from the, hanging from the spires. And, and then they were going to I was putting in this iPad way in the back. And I was like, and they were like, well, yoga with the, live band is about to start. And I was like, I'm going to be way in the back. And literally 300 people show up for yoga. And the woman is like putting the mat down next to where I'm working. I was like, oh, okay, well, sorry. She's like, I'm going to take this spot. And anyway, it was really fun. Really great clients. They loved, really happy clients. And I always love that. I'm always proud of, my clients do enjoy working with me. But thank you for the question, Jean. And it was a great project to be involved in.
Nice.
I want to know what kind of client, like if you could pick any client, what would be like your dream client?
Well, that was a really cool project. And I've actually talked about scaling that, because I think there's a lot of really cool historical buildings that have a lot of great stories. And, I have a way to, and realtors who I wanted to go to the Transamerica building. Like, how do we go to the Transamerica building, make these, foyer entry spaces, a full narrative of the history, and then you can tell as long as history as you want. And then the more we elevate a space, the more you can charge lease for those rooms, the more you can, it will pay itself off. It's just you need to have that initial investment money, and so it's fun to think about. And I haven't, I got involved with residential work because I do love, working with just homeowners and just a more intimate relationship and not having big boards of directors to respond to. But so I love all kinds of projects. I'm a very multidisciplinary designer, and so those projects are working in more of the commercial space. I don't want to not be pitching to. I got to keep pitching to that group because that is really the foundation of my strategic work, is more commercial work. It's just, I do love the homeowner work. And I got involved with that when we gutted our own house up here in Petaluma. And I love working with artists and, the artistic elements that we can bring to a home. And so, I'll never, I love juggling both of those,
What is some good business industries that work well with you that would use you as a referral and all?
Well, the real estate market is, they're involved in that transition. People in transition are often people buying homes or selling homes, or are in retirement, families in transition. They're, about to have children. Children are going off to college. I love to look at a home and optimize it. I mean, you do not have to keep your 3 bedrooms for your children for the rest of their lives so that they can go home and see that the gum they stuck under their desk when they were 7 is still there. Like, you can utilize that room, make it something usable, make it a guest room, make it a, yoga room, whatever, make it a meditation room, make it something worthwhile for you, a craft room, a lot of people have hobbies, and, let's elevate those spaces so that you're really optimizing each of your rooms. I'm not sure if what was it? Your question is around, I feel like I missed it.
Well,
Kevin, were going to say
I
something?
have a kind of a question, about what you just said. No, I had a little question about, what you had just said. When with us in the junk removal business, we come across clients that have like these big emotional hurdles about, letting
Right.
old furniture, old decor go. Do you ever come across
Oh,
that
yeah.
when they're
I mean,
changing those
honey,
craft rooms or
that
finding
is
those
like,
furniture with the gum
most
underneath?
people have too much stuff. Like, most
Yeah.
people hold
Oh, we
on
know.
for these emotional. I hate this armoire, but it was my old aunt's kit. I mean, take a picture, make a beautiful photo album, frame it in a gilded frame. Let's do some fun, should get the shaman in. Let's do an exercise on how to get rid of the old armoire. But man, most people have too much stuff.
Yes.
Too much furniture. Yeah, we actually in our home have no bedrooms, believe it or not. What does that mean? We have all fold down beds, which are beautiful mattresses, good quality mattresses. But so that removes a lot of furniture. It's like suddenly you don't have a bed, you don't have stuff. It's all built in. We have all built-ins. So these are multi-purpose rooms. And then you have all this space. Beds take up a lot of space. And this is what I learned in Japan, because this is the way Japanese people, originally lived, is they rolled up their mat and they put it away. And these spaces become multi-use spaces, which is really fun. But yeah, so much stuff. Yeah,
So,
a lot of us out there. I mean, even, most people I know have too much stuff and would admit it. They know it.
So I was just right before this, I was just at a garage, and I would say it was on the fine line of a hoarder level garage and all.
Right.
And I get to see the extreme side of that. And what
Exactly.
we were talking about today is it plays a very hard role on the mental as well. Most people don't realize that, and more of it's like an eyesore or whatever. But I'm experienced the mental side, where it's actually putting people into like anxiety,
Right.
depression, and I'm also getting to see the rewards of giving them their space back. When
Right.
it's going down, they're very anxious, they're very stressed, they don't like that you're taking their stuff away. But at the end of it all, when they realize and their space is all back and it's all clear and everything, I could feel the weight lifted off of their
Right.
shoulders.
Mhm.
The smile is so real and
Right.
radiating, and they are
Yes.
so happy with me and Nicole. It's like we came
Right.
in there, and it's not just a
You
junk
can
removal
breathe.
specialist. It was kind of like being like a psychiatrist in a way,
Right.
by the way that we would leave.
Yes.
And we'd get there, they were all
Yes.
anxious and not feeling good and
Right.
all. When we'd leave, and they're so happy and
Right.
excited. So that is
This is what
something.
I do, Paul. I'm very
Yes.
much a psychologist. I mean, there is so
Mhm.
much like emotional work in design, and that's absolutely part of it. And absolutely, and of course, I love this field. I love this job. I love this work. That it is absolutely mental health. This is why I was saying Japan and Sweden, like people put it into their government systems because it elevates, mental health and productivity and that all factors in. Design is absolutely works on all those things.
I gotta say this. Heather Foster says, I lived on Clay and Taylor and would go to Grace all the time. Love this. Heather, I can't believe, is this Heather from next door? Did you find me from next door? Because I remember you. You were one of our clients. I believe I got you one of those antique freezers. Is this the Heather that I got you, the antique freezer? Let me know. That would be amazing if you're in here tuning in right now. I appreciate that. And Bob says, have you designed any 420 rooms, like a dank smoking room? That's a
Super
good
fun
one, Ellen.
project that would be. No, and I have enjoyed, I lived in San Francisco during that arc. And
Yeah.
that was really fun. Apothecarium down on Lombard. I mean, these beautiful spaces. And it's so fun to see the variety of narratives, of brands, everything we're talking about in each of those spaces. I have not done them myself, but I have enjoyed visiting those spaces and seeing all the different stories, right? They all want kind of just like the brands of cannabis brands. Like they all have like that, cannabis is one of the huge design industry because
Yep.
all that packaging, who knew? Who was going to think weed? It's like the computers and design. Who would think weed and design? But man, are those two like right coinciding? But yeah,
We
it's
might
so
we
fun.
might have to collab down in the future, and we might have to make our first 420 room. It might have to be at my place.
Exactly. That's so good. No, it would be great. I'd love to do a map of just like the best, dispensaries in the area to like from a design perspective. And then like best brands like to check out and like check out this. I was just listening to a podcast from that home. It's called like Homemade Home. Anyway, it's Seth Rogen did a cannabis dispensary. He did a cannabis brand, and it was all because it was just like you're interested in being a designer, and then you like weed, and then you're suddenly like designing weed, and you're suddenly designing weed packaging, and
I love
yeah,
it.
really fun. No, great question. Yeah, super fun.
Oh my
That'd be
God. This is Heather. I can't believe you found me on. I love this. She says, Heather says, the fridge is living at my new shop that is soon to open. It's super cool in my old retro
nice.
kitchen. I would love her opinion on our makeover of the shop for sure. Yes,
Nice.
yes. Heather owns
Absolutely.
a
Let's
shop in
think.
Pengrove, and Heather is definitely on the design. But unfortunately, she had this crazy pillar that she had at her shop. It was in the parking lot. It's like 12 feet tall. And I met Heather through next door. And then I remember seeing on there, she was posting, somebody came in the middle of the night and stole this 12-foot pillar from her parking lot. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So you can't really hide this anywhere. So I was like, let's just give it time, Heather, and we're going to find this. Me being in junk removal, I got the eyes and the radar out looking for it and all that. But
good.
yeah, Heather is Heather's on top of the whole, and even Heather's spot. She's got a really nice property and everything. But you guys should definitely connect. I think that would be a good connection. And
I love it. I
yes,
love it.
that would be very cool.
I love retro. Retro's everything. So fun. I have a client up in Guerneville, the Guerneville Social Club, that is a building that just is going to open hopefully this spring. But it's a beautiful mid-century building that they're going to completely gut and renovate and make this community hub space. And it has a restaurant and a tap room and a wine tasting and cool patio space. It's going to be like an event venue space. And they're gonna do it up. It's gonna be really fun.
What's your favorite design place that you've ever did out of every design that you've put together?
What's my favorite?
Yeah. What was like your favorite project? I know you had a lot of fun with the church one, but is there one that
Yeah.
even stands out more than that?
Oh, it's so
And was that your longest
right.
project? Because
That
that
was
was a
my
year
longest
and a
project.
half.
Yeah, that was my longest project. That was my longest design project. I did yeah, I don't know. Like I've done some really cool like event work and promotional work that's dimensional and like cut out of metal. I love using texture and metals. I do a lot of lino cutting in metal and wood and anything where I can use materials. So I did a really cool project for an event that we were able to like custom cut into metal, and that was a lot of fun. And you know, I did a space in Berkeley, the equity and leadership space for the Berkeley Haas business group. And that was a really fun project. We did all this super cool stuff on the walls that, again, walls are, you know, it's just really fun to recognize that real estate, you know, everything's real estate. And so you look at your space and remember that like, this is real estate. And when you go into well-branded spaces, you do notice that like really the walls are thoughtful. There might be stories, you know, vinyl lettering. There's reasonably inexpensive ways to like bring story into your space, you know, and you can put up, you know, that retro fridge is suddenly, you know, part of like a history wall. So we're doing a history wall at the Guerneville Social Club. And, you know, they're going to have old bikes mixed with photographs, mixed with like all kinds of, you know, record players and records. Are going to do a lot of cool, like it's going to be a living dimensional wall that's going to be a lot of fun.
Very nice. And now Bob says, "Are you married? I love those glasses and the red sweatshirt."
Thank you. That's so sweet. I am married to a really fabulous guy. He is an architect by training. He's a big project manager on, you know, big healthcare hospitals. They're lucky to have him, but he is definitely part of my team too. That I have a, you know, a licensed architect as my, you know, hubby is pretty nice. So he comes, anyone who needs like a little like structural review. Is this going to be a problem? You know, I call him in. So he's a really great, super nice guy to boot. So that's nice.
All right, I got one last question for you, and that is, what's one trend, habit, or mindset you tell people just forget about it?
That's great. Self-loathing. Forget about it. You know, I'm a big mindfulness practitioner. I got into it about 6 years ago, and I'm telling you, it'll frickin' change your life. You know, who knew that like watching your breath and not letting your mind just go off and fucking ruminate all day is going to be like can change your life. But I'm telling you, like it, you know, that the emotional regulation, the confidence, the moving forward, just forget about it.
Forget about it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
So, guys, I want to say tomorrow we have our in-person BNI meetup tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. And it's going to be a special one because it's Halloween, and we're all instructed, if we can, to dress up in some costumes. So I'm definitely going to make some videos. I'll get some behind-the-scenes content for everybody. And I got a little surprise costume that I'm going to be coming in. I'm not going to let it be known yet. It'll be a nice little surprise for tomorrow. But Ellen, would you like to share your costume with you're going in tomorrow? Or are we going to be a surprise?
No.
I tried.
That's great. No, I got a good skeleton on my you know, sort of an old retro Jerry Garcia skeleton going out there. He's got a beer, he's got a roach, he's got some good glasses.
I love it.
He's on my porch out there. We're playing music with him. You know, we've been playing music with him this October, so that's been really fun.
Shout out my man Russ Berry is in the house. He's 7-figure junk removal. He says junk guys DFW costume. No, brother, but I am gonna when I get off of here, I will send you a picture. You're gonna die laughing on this one. It's a little inside joke with the BNI, but when you guys see it, you'll all love it. It's gonna be a good one, guys. I promise on that one. But before we call it a night, I just wanted, if people want to get in touch with you, Ellen, and they want to hire you as an interior designer, or maybe they just want to shoot the shit and talk with you.
Yeah,
I think
that's great.
Bob might want to go on a date
Just
over
not
there as
Bob.
well.
Just not Bob.
Hey,
Don't
man,
reach out.
we can do coffee, man. It's all good. I'm happily married, but thank you for the compliment. That's very kind.
Where can people get in
Yeah,
touch
I
with
have
you,
a
Ellen?
website, ellenmanerud.com. I have an Instagram page also, and shoot me up too. It's like in terms of reach out. I'm happy to meet with people. I do a free consultation in terms of seeing people's spaces. Get on the phone. I do. It's all interpersonal, right? I'd like to meet my community.
And Bob says, "Are you dressing up as an even fatter Yee Yee?" Oh my God, Misty Yee was my other co-host on one of my other shows, and so he's
That's great.
teasing Misty Yee right now. But you're gonna see Bob tomorrow. I promise. I will share the videos and all that. Everybody's gonna see the costume. It's gonna be a funny one. Kevin, shout us out, man. Shout out your many websites, your books, everything. Let's hear it all.
Well, if you're in the junk removal community, you can reach out to me at the junkevolution.com. For the civilians out there, looking for leadership development, you can see behind me, leading with purpose.info. And yes, as you mentioned, if you want to get my new book, The Gut Check, come out, it's on Amazon, or you can find it at either one of those websites.
Hell yeah.
Nice book design.
Oh
Thank
yeah,
you.
I really like that cover. That's a good one. And Kevin, I sent you a message. I know I could order them from Amazon, but I need my 2 autographed copies. So
Right.
definitely
Gotcha.
want to get that for
I
sure.
got you.
Perfect. And guys, also I want to ask another favor of you guys. Guys, if you've got service by Fuhgeddaboutit Junk Removal, I can ask you a favor. Can you please go over to my Google and leave us a nice little review? Just trying to get out there in the algorithm some more would really help us out. Or if you guys are on Nextdoor, that's another one of the big platforms, and you could leave us a recommendation. It would be very much appreciated, and I appreciate all the support in advance. Bob says, "Are you going to be a cowboy tomorrow, Kevin?"
He must have been at the Junk Expo because I was wearing a cowboy hat during the whole expo because everybody's
Nice.
everybody sees my picture all the time. I'm wearing some type of hat, so because I collect hats and everything, so I like wearing them. But I guess
Did you see the billboard? Did you see the billboard going up?
I did see the billboard. I drove. I
Yes.
was driving. I was driving, and I look up, and I'm like, forget about it.
Yeah.
Go big or go home.
I was trying to text you with my Siri, and
That's great. Yeah,
I was in a rental car, so the Siri, it tried calling you, and I was like,
Oh, Bob Stewart. So yes, nice, Bob, where are you from? What state are you out of, Bob? Definitely want to know that. And what company? What's your company name? Got to check that out. And guys, yeah, I'm gonna do as much as I can. I'm gonna start getting a little more active. I want to get more in the junk removal industry as well. So I am gonna be doing some more interviews. I'm gonna see if I maybe do like a group where we used to all just kind of hang out, the junk family and all that. I will be getting more active. I do have a little more time. We're not as busy right now. It's a little slower season. So I'm going to do my best to get out there on YouTube and just be more active on social media. Bob says, my friends and I called Kevin Grandpa Cowboy all Expo. I don't know. He's like busting balls. Guy, Bob.
Bob, you realize I'm only 53 years old. I'm not old enough to be a grandpa.
Yeah, bro. All right. Well, guys, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate it. If you guys haven't already, please smash that thumbs up button. Help me get in the algorithm. And if you're in the BNI, please share it on your social media platform so our other members could enjoy it as well. I just kind of want to catch everybody up. I'm doing these one-to-ones. This way we could really get to know each other and let's just start passing some business along. So everybody do what you can. Let's get some referrals for Ellen this week as well. Let's get her busy and let's get her some cool designs going so that she can work some fun projects.
Thank you so much, Paul. You're such an inspiration. It's fun to be on.
All right, guys. Well, have a great night, everybody. And I will see everybody next week.
All right.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Good night, everybody.